I was really honored to receive the grant. I was really excited for the possibilities of just being able to use these objects in the classroom. I knew that they would be really inspirational to students.
So being awarded this grant is a great honor to represent our school and the community. And what this moment means to me is that the community and the Haddonfield Educational Trust places value on the programming that I and my students and my department bring to this school. So it really has been a great honor and a great joy to work with this grant. The impact of having the artist in residence on my classroom reinforced for me the importance of performance-based learning for English language arts. And having an artist come in, an actor come in and workshop different methods with our students reminds me to be playful in teaching and engage in the text physically. And although I do this in my own classroom, it's always really helpful to have a professional come in and do this, and this is a part of their everyday work. So it was very exciting to see that, and also gave me kind of a resurgence at the end of the year to engage in the performative aspect of teaching Shakespeare.
Well, I am an artist myself, and I am known to be a very enthusiastic teacher. No one will deny that. I love art and the materials and just pulling inspiration from different things, and just being able to have these items and giving students a choice of a plethora of things to be able to choose from to draw and incorporate into their work is really inspirational. It like freshens up the classroom and gives students the opportunity to use something that they maybe wouldn't be able to have access to outside the school.
In my Shakespeare class, we have a set of guidelines that we use to guide our practice each day. And I think that this program that we hosted, the Artist in Residence, and having the Macbeth tour come to the school reminded our students to risk and explore everything. And most importantly, our number one rule is to place an emphasis on process, not product. And they've been able to see the product and process through all aspects of this grant. So I hope that this programming reinforces the lessons we work with every single day and brings a different energy to those lessons. So I'm hoping that these lessons are long lasting and go far beyond this classroom. And I'm not only hoping, I believe that they do.
The impact, it has just been awesome because students are drawing these objects and incorporating the results, their drawings and paintings, into their college portfolios. So I'm proud to announce that every single one of my AP Art students got into their college of choice this year, and I have a very happy group. One thing, in AP Art, we have a 3-piece portfolio. One section of the portfolio is concentration, which is like a visual term paper of 12 pieces. Another portion of AP is quality, which is 5 pieces. That's their highest quality pieces. The third portion is breadth. So it shows a variety of approaches and subjects in the students' art. So these pieces have allowed students to draw and paint objects that they wouldn't be able to access otherwise. And it's refreshing for colleges to see drawings and paintings of things that they're not used to seeing from other students at other schools. So it really helps the students stand out in the eyes of the admissions counselors.
Having an artist in residence come into your classroom does completely change the dynamic of the course. The artist in residence from the Philadelphia Shakespeare Theater, Jenna Kersey, brought a different element to the class. So she invests all of her work in these methodologies and beliefs, and sees this as a way of being, not just as a 42-minute lesson. And so for our students to see that and to feel that, I think is really powerful, because that shifts from just the walls of your classroom to then seeing the arts beyond and manifesting itself in an individual, and then applying that to multiple people who are involved in the performing arts, which is really fantastic, because then your students see themselves as professional learners and engage differently with the content. So the dynamic totally shifts, and it's very curious for me to watch, because I've seen my students in one light all year, and then when they're working with the text with someone new, it's very exciting because my students feel new and they're excited and intrigued by what they can do. What I also find very interesting is that students tend to come out of their shells differently and tend to step out of their comfort zone with someone new. And even though I've encouraged them to do that all year, now they have the confidence to do that. And that's incredibly exciting, that I'm witnessing what I've been working on, what we've been working on collectively, and now I can see it right in front of me. And that's a pretty immediate gratification when someone takes risks and owns it, says, okay, I can do this. And that happens when you introduce someone new and something new into the classroom.
It changed the dynamic in, so far, it changed the dynamic in art survey class, which is a first level introductory art class. The students were able to choose objects based on their drawing level. I determined the drawing level by giving all of the students, before we started our drawing lessons, a pre-drawing test. This pre-drawing test helped me determine what level the students should be in. Once I determined that, I organized my own collection along with the items that were generously donated by HET. I organized them together based on drawing level and allowed students to choose objects that were appropriate for their drawing level. So instead of in the past where maybe just emerging level students would be able to pick maybe like a piece of fruit, a piece of plastic fruit to draw, now they get to choose from fruit or pumpkins, you know. So it gave them the opportunity to have more choice. And then the upper level students got to draw skulls or some challenging shells from my shell collection. And it was really nice to be able to challenge students appropriately with more variety of items. And everyone got an equal amount of choice.
Hosting an artist in residence, I believe, benefits the school as a whole. Even though only 2 classes worked with Jenna Kersey, the artist in residence from the Philadelphia Shakespeare Theater, I think that has an impact on students studying Shakespeare or studying any drama, because they're seeing their peers engage, and then they're having conversations about the work that they do. And it's not about whether you like or dislike the work that you're doing, but it's about how can you appreciate the text or the project, or what do you notice about the work that you're doing. And that dialogue and those conversations are so incredibly important. So I think the Artists in Residence impacts students beyond my classroom in that way, just based on conversation, and also students enrolling in the course in the future. In addition, my students will be using the work that they did with the Artists in Residence for their senior project. My students will synthesize multiple scenes from various Shakespeare plays and use the directorial skills that they learned with Jenna, the Artist in Residence, to direct their own work and analyze their own work and evaluate their own work right at the end of the semester. So those skills will scaffold throughout the course. In addition to the Artists in Residence with the Philadelphia Shakespeare Theater, we also had the touring production of Macbeth visit our school, which I think has incredible value, and to me will have a very long-lasting impact on the students involved with this aspect of the program. So this year we had CP English 12, AP Literature, and the Shakespeare elective all read Macbeth at different points of the year and through different methodologies. And that's a really interesting process in itself when you have 3 classes, all very different academic levels and interest, studying the same text at different points of the year. And this is what will connect them in this moment. And to bring the senior class together to watch this performance in that moment is really unique and special, because it's entertainment, but it has so much educational value. And to me, all of our students walk away with cultural capital, and that's will have immense value for their entire lives. And for some students, this might be the first play they have ever seen outside of a school musical or a play they saw when they were a little kid, but as a scholar. They have studied the play, and now they're viewing the play, and they're noticing, and they're appreciating, and they're learning and discovering, and they're doing that together. And that was a really special experience for me to observe as a teacher. And I know I was speaking with Julie Smart, who teaches AP Literature and CP12, and Cindy Klasky and Stacy Brown Downham, about how special it is that Shakespeare can do this, and how performance can do this for our students. So the grant was twofold, and I think it had multiple outcomes, and I'm excited to see what will come of it in the future.
Well, I am really excited to hang this semester's art survey object drawings in the hallway, because I think that the display will impact the school as a whole, because they'll be able to see what we're doing in art survey and be able to see the possibilities that are now coming out of this room thanks to the grant. I think that more students will probably want to take art survey if they didn't consider it in the past.
I will submit another grant proposal. I'd like to explore more ways to bring together different courses studying the same text and how we can explore that together through performance. So I'm very excited to see what's next for the HET grant submission process.
I am actually thinking of a couple of ideas already.
Since I have submitted a grant proposal before, I understood the expectation. I do think that it does require some thought, in the sense that you have to think about how the grant you are applying for will benefit the community or impact others. I think that's a really important consideration. So for my next grant proposal, I do want to think about how can I bring together more people, how can I impact more people, because it is incredible when you bring together community to engage in performance in Shakespeare. So I think the submission process is something that does require a lot of thought, isn't incredibly challenging, I do wish the submission process happened a little earlier. I do think that if teachers had the opportunity to apply at the end of the school year, the prior year, you could have projects that are year long, which would be really interesting, because right now the way that the process works is that you don't know if you've received the grant until November or December, so then it's really only for the spring, which could be limiting for some people at different grade levels. It works well for me because I teach a semester course, but I think you would have more people apply if you had year-long possibility.
I'd like the opportunity to submit in September instead of November, because I do most of my planning at the beginning of the school year. Also, it gives us more time, especially in a subject like art, to show the school, the community, and the HET the final results of the project. I would really like to thank the HET and everyone that donated generously to the HET to make this grant possible. You're really making a difference to the teachers and the students. It's like a breath of life into the classroom, and everyone benefits wonderfully from it.
First and foremost, I would like to thank the Haddonfield Educational Trust for making all of this possible and continuing to support our students, our faculty in the creative process of teaching and learning with one another. So I'll forever be grateful to the Haddonfield Educational Trust for investing in us in this way. I'd also like to thank my students and my colleagues for engaging with one another and collaborating to make the most of the programming offered to us. I also would like to thank our administration for supporting teachers in their creative endeavors and continuing to support them throughout the years and after earning the grant. And finally, I would like to thank our community. The Haddonfield community makes all of this possible, and that goes beyond the Haddonfield Educational Trust, students, teachers, administrators, the community at large. I believe is very supportive and inclusive of all activities, whether it's academics, athletics, extracurriculars. And by supporting one another and being a strong community, these programs continue to be very successful. So I have endless gratitude for all the aforementioned parties, and hope that we continue to collaborate together to continue these endeavors. So with that, thank you very much.